Your heart is going faster than it should. Your chest is tight in a way that does not quite hurt, but does not feel right either. Your thoughts are moving too quickly, jumping from one worst-case scenario to the next before you have even finished processing the first one. You know logically that you are fine. You know logically that nothing catastrophic is happening right now. And that knowledge does absolutely nothing, because anxiety does not live in the logical part of your brain. It lives in a part that is older, faster, and completely indifferent to your reasonable arguments about why everything is probably going to be okay. This is why every piece of advice you have ever received about managing anxiety through thinking has only ever worked partially and temporarily at best. Count your blessings, reframe your thoughts, just focus on the positive. These approaches are trying to use a slow system to override a fast one. They are like trying to stop a moving car by reasoning with the engine. The engine does not speak that language, but here's what nobody tells you in the self-help space, and what the neuroscience has known for years. Your body has a built-in emergency brake for anxiety. It is physical, not cognitive. It bypasses the thinking brain entirely and communicates directly with the part of your nervous system that is generating the anxiety response. And activating it takes somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds depending on which method you use. Not 30 minutes of meditation, not a week of journaling. 30 seconds of the right physical input, and your nervous system receives a signal that is neurologically indistinguishable from genuine safety. It does not matter what your thoughts were doing. The brake engages anyway. Today, I'm going to give you 5 of these resets, and I need you to stay with me through number 3 because that is the one that works in public, in the middle of a conversation, at a job interview, on a first date, anywhere, with zero visible movement. Nobody will know you are doing it. Reset number 1. The diving reflex activation. Cold water, 10 seconds, and your heart rate drops whether it wants to or not. There is a reflex built into your mammalian nervous system that has existed for longer than your species has. It is called the diving reflex, and it is a survival mechanism that activates when your face is submerged in cold water. The moment cold water contacts the skin around your nose, mouth, and forehead, your brainstem triggers an automatic parasympathetic response. Your heart rate drops. Your blood vessels in your extremities constrict to preserve core blood flow. Your metabolic rate slows. Your body shifts involuntarily and immediately from sympathetic activation, which is fight or flight, to parasympathetic dominance, which is rest and recover. This is not a metaphor. It is a measurable, documented physiological event that happens in seconds and does not require your conscious cooperation. You cannot decide not to have this reflex. It simply fires. Fill a bowl or a sink with cold water. Not ice water, just cold from the tap. Take a breath and submerge your face for 15 to 30 seconds. If you do not have access to water, placing a cold pack or a bag of frozen vegetables against your forehead and cheeks produces a partial version of the same effect. Research published in the journal Autonomic Neuroscience confirmed that face cooling activates the vagus nerve strongly enough to produce measurable decreases in heart rate and cortisol within under a minute. Your anxiety was being powered by sympathetic activation. The diving reflex just cut the power supply. Most people who try this for the first time are shocked by how fast it works. Not because it is a trick or a distraction, because it is a direct physiological override of the exact system that was generating the anxiety. Reset number 2. The physiological sigh with extended exhale. The fastest breath pattern your nervous system actually responds to. Everyone tells anxious people to take a deep breath. And everyone who has been anxious while trying to take a deep breath knows that it frequently makes things worse. The chest is already tight. Adding more air to a system that is already pressurized creates more pressure, not less. The advice is not wrong exactly. The technique is wrong. The specific breath pattern that produces genuine rapid nervous system downregulation is not a big inhale. It is a structured exhale that is longer than the inhale. Here is the exact sequence. You exhale first, completely, pushing all the air out through your mouth until your lungs feel empty. Then you take a normal inhale through your nose. Then, without pausing, you take one additional short sniff on top of that inhale, filling your lungs just slightly more than a normal breath. Then you exhale slowly and completely through your mouth, making this exhale last at least twice as long as the inhale. You do this cycle twice. That is the entire technique, under 30 seconds. The extended exhale directly stimulates the vagus nerve through a mechanism involving the baroreceptors in your lungs and the pressure changes in your thoracic cavity. Your heart rate drops in real time as you exhale. The longer the exhale, the greater the drop. You are not just calming down. You are physically correcting the respiratory dysfunction that anxiety creates, which then removes one of the physiological feedback signals that was telling your brain to stay anxious. Your brain was reading shallow, high chest breathing as evidence of ongoing threat. You just replace that signal with one that reads deep, complete, regulated breathing. 2 breath cycles, 30 seconds. The most direct access point to your own nervous system that does not require any equipment at all. Reset number 3, the peripheral vision expansion, the one you can use anywhere without anyone knowing. This is the reset that changes everything for social anxiety specifically. The anxiety that hits you in meetings, in conversations, on dates, in job interviews, in any high-stakes social situation where you cannot close your eyes and breathe visibly and obviously without making the situation significantly more awkward. This technique is completely invisible. It requires no movement, no touching your face, no audible breath change. You can be in the middle of a sentence and do it simultaneously. And it works because it directly manipulates the relationship between your visual system and your threat detection network in a way that your nervous system cannot override. When your brain perceives a threat, your visual field narrows. This is called tunnel vision, and it is not metaphorical. This narrowing is both a symptom of anxiety and a cause of it, because narrow visual focus sends a continuous signal to your amygdala that says we are tracking a threat. The amygdala reads the visual narrowing as confirmation that danger is present and maintains the anxiety response accordingly. The feedback loop sustains itself. Peripheral vision expansion breaks this loop directly. While keeping your gaze softly forward, without moving your eyes or turning your head, you expand your awareness to include the edges of your visual field. The left periphery, the right periphery, what is in the far corners of the room without looking directly at it. You are not straining. You are softening your focus, widening it, letting the peripheral field come into your awareness at the same level as the central field. Hold this wide, soft, panoramic awareness for 15 to 20 seconds. Panoramic vision activates the ventral vagal complex, the most evolutionarily recent part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is specifically associated with social safety and calm engagement rather than freeze or flee. Researchers studying the neuroscience of visual processing and threat response have confirmed that wide-angle peripheral awareness is neurologically incompatible with the full activation of the fear response. You literally cannot be in peak fight or flight while your visual system is in panoramic mode. Your brain uses visual field width as one of its primary environmental safety assessments. Wide vision means open environment, no immediate predator, safe to relax. Narrow vision means threat is close, stay alert. You can hijack this assessment deliberately, anywhere, anytime, in the middle of the most anxiety-inducing situation you face. Nobody will see you do it, but you will feel it working within seconds. Reset number 4, the jaw and shoulder release sequence, unlocking the places where anxiety physically lives in your body. Anxiety is not just a mental event, it is a full-body physical state, and your body stores anxiety in specific locations with remarkable consistency across individuals. The 2 biggest storage sites are the jaw and the shoulders and neck complex. When your sympathetic nervous system activates, these are among the first muscle groups to receive the tension signal. Your jaw clenches, your shoulders rise toward your ears, your neck shortens. These are ancient defensive postures, protecting the throat and bracing for impact that your body executes automatically when threat is perceived. And here is the part that most people miss entirely. The tension does not release automatically when the threat passes. Especially in people who deal with chronic or frequent anxiety, the jaw and shoulders develop persistent baseline tension that never fully resolves. And because the nervous system reads body posture as threat information, the persistent tension sends a continuous low-level signal back to the brain that says something is still wrong. The anxiety does not fully resolve because the body never fully released the posture that the anxiety created. You are trapped in a feedback loop between your nervous system and your musculature. The jaw and shoulder release sequence breaks this loop from the body side. First, let your jaw go completely slack. Do not just relax it, let it drop. Open your mouth slightly and let the weight of your lower jaw hang. Place your tongue flat against the bottom of your mouth rather than pressed against the roof. Hold this for 5 seconds and feel the muscles around your ears and temples release. Then roll your shoulders up towards your ears as high as they will go. Hold for 3 seconds and then let them drop completely. Not lower them, drop them. The sudden release after the contraction produces a deeper relaxation than gradual lowering does because the muscle spindles reset to a lower baseline tension point. Repeat the shoulder drop twice. Then take 1 slow breath while maintaining the slack jaw and drop shoulders. The entire sequence takes under 30 seconds. What you are doing is interrupting the physical component of the anxiety feedback loop. You are telling your nervous system through postural language, not through thought, that the defensive bracing is no longer necessary. This is also why this technique compounds with the others. The physiological sigh is more effective when the jaw is released because the throat opens and the breath moves more freely. The peripheral vision expansion is more effective when the shoulders are dropped because the whole body is in a posture that the nervous system reads as safe rather than braced. This is the most portable of all 5 resets. You need nothing except the inside of your own wrist and a breath. The inside of your wrist, specifically the area just below the base of your thumb where you feel your pulse, has a high density of baroreceptors and thermoreceptors that are directly wired to the vagus nerve. Here is the technique. Turn your wrist so the inside faces toward your mouth. Take a normal breath in through your nose. Then exhale slowly through pursed lips directly onto the inside of your wrist. The breath from your mouth, particularly when exhaled slowly and close to the skin, is cooler than your skin temperature. The thermoreceptors detect the temperature drop. The baroreceptors detect the gentle pressure of the moving air. Both signals travel up the vagal pathway to your brainstem and trigger a parasympathetic response. Do this for 5 slow breaths directed at the same spot on your wrist. That is approximately 30 seconds. You can do this sitting in a waiting room, in the bathroom before a difficult conversation, at a desk, in a car, anywhere that allows you to hold your wrist near your mouth for 30 seconds. Nobody will register what you are doing, and your nervous system will respond whether you believe it will or not. Because these are not placebo effects. They are physiological mechanisms that operate below the level of belief. Your vagus nerve does not need your confidence. It needs the signal. You just provided the signal. Here is what all 5 of these resets have in common, and why they work when everything else has not. Every one of them bypasses the cognitive brain entirely. They do not ask you to think differently. They do not ask you to challenge your beliefs or reframe your perspective or find reasons to feel grateful. They communicate directly with the ancient pre-verbal part of your nervous system in the only language it actually understands. Physical signals, temperature, breath pressure, postural position, visual field width. Your nervous system responds to these inputs the same way it has responded to them for hundreds of thousands of years. Not because you understand why, because that is what it is designed to do. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is not evidence that something is fundamentally wrong with you. It is a survival system that has lost its calibration in a world that is radically different from the one it was designed for. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a presentation to your boss and a predator in the grass. It treats social threat with the same chemical response it developed for physical danger. That is not a malfunction. It is a mismatch. And the 5 resets you just learned are the fastest, most direct way to correct that mismatch in real time, using your own biology as the tool. You do not need an app. You do not need a prescription. You do not need 30 minutes of quiet. You need 30 seconds and the knowledge of what your nervous system responds to. Now you have both. Drop in the comments which reset you are going to try first. And if someone you know is living with anxiety that does not respond to the standard advice, send this to them today. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone is not comfort. It is the biological off switch they did not know they had.